The first meeting is really a get-to-know-you meeting. We're going to sit down. Typically, the meeting will last about an hour. We're having a conversation. My job is to ask them some questions about where they are, what some of their goals are, what some of the key objectives they have in meeting with me, where they are to this point, and really what brought them in to see me. And now I'm at the point in my career where I have a lot of people that are dependent upon me to provide them with all the guidance and all the advice that we do on a day-to-day basis.
You spend your working years trying to build up your assets, trying to build up pension credits at your job, trying to grow your nest egg so that you can one day retire when you can't work or don't want to work anymore. And that's a period followed by phase two, which is retirement. And your priorities in these two phases are very different, but many times we see people don't make that shift and they still act like they're in phase one when they really should be acting like they're in phase two.
We're going to talk to you about what we commonly refer to as the second half of the game. And what I mean by that is you're working your entire life towards retirement, and I'm assuming that most of you are, at that age where you're starting to consider some of your options as you move into retirement. And as you do that, you're moving from what we call the accumulation phase of your life, where you're accumulating your assets. Maybe you're participating in your company's 401k, maybe you're contributing to an IRA account or a Roth IRA account or some type of retirement vehicle. And now, as you retire, you're transitioning into the distribution phase, or the part where you're going to need income in retirement. So we're going to talk about some different ways to do that with an emphasis on Social Security.
Hello and welcome to Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush. I'm Barry Warnker. I'm host of your show tonight, and we're going to talk to Jeff about the firm that he works with, Inform Family Financial Services, and the kind of things that we do and the kind of folks that we work with, and just get to know us a little better. So, Jeff, how are you doing today?
Good. Hello, Barry. Welcome to the show. The title of today's show is Retirement in 2014, or we could subtitle it, This is Not Your Father's Retirement. We're going to look at some numbers, some unique facts that really caused the baby boomer generation to look at retirement different than our fathers did.
Great. So it's a broad subject. I mean, it is a very different world financially, I think, for all of us, but particularly as you approach retirement and you can look at all the decisions that you have to make about how you're going to manage. We have to be aware of how things really are a bit different. Before we get into that, tell us a little bit about Inform Family Financial Services, what your mission is, a little bit about it so folks know.
Well, Barry, time marches on. You and I started the company back in 2001, so we're on 14 years now of working together, and we just started our company as a mission to become independent and help people as they face retirement and work on all of the important issues in facing retirement, including Social Security, how to design an income plan, and just the whole idea of succession planning, working into their retirement, and so on and so forth. Giving people information to make informed decisions. And of course, over the years, we've done numerous seminars, over 200 public seminars. And of course, we've been on the radio. We did two separate radio shows on 2 stations, published 2 books, and of course now here we are on television. And what's nice about the TV is not only are we here on the Pottstown network, the PCTV network, because of modern technology, we're on the internet. This is streamed on the PCTV network, and of course we're on, the show's shown on our website. So we're really getting the message out there, which is very exciting. And of course, you and I used to joke that we had 2 great faces for radio, but now here we are on TV. So I'm not sure people are saying we got 2 great faces for TV, but anyway, here we are.
Well, fortunately, I've hired a really handsome actor to play me, so this is not really Barry you're talking to, but a handsome actor. But anyway, Jeff, I know you're located right in Pottstown. We have an office here for people, and right down on Hanover, right at High in Hanover, in the old.
We do. We have an office. Everybody knows the High in Hanover. It's right on the corner of the metropolis of Pottstown, corner of High and Hanover Street, and the brick building, the Brick House Tavern is right on the first floor. We're up on the fourth floor, and then of course we have our main office down in Trooper on Boulevard of the Generals. But anyway, enough about that, about our offices. What we want to start with today is really the concept of retirement. We look at how people are going to get income in retirement, and we always refer to the three-legged stool. So I want to just take a minute to talk about what the three-legged stool is. So the three-legged stool is really you're getting income from three different sources.
So it's not an actual stool that you can sit on.
It looks like a stool, though. The slide we just had up looks like an actual stool.
So there were three legs of the stool, and those three legs were going to carry you through your retirement.
Yeah, there's three sources. There's Social Security, of course, and of course we've talked a lot about Social Security here on our show. And right now, the typical retiree for married couples are getting about 37% of their income from Social Security. But now we want to talk about pensions. And of course, Barry, did you know that back in 1990, there was about 92,000 private sector pensions? 92,000. Today, there's about 22,000, or about 23,000. So roughly a third of pension. That's a huge drop. So it used to be, because I can remember my first job, I worked for a utility, and it was like, and people had been, a lot of people had long years of service. You walk around the halls and you talk to people. Oh, I've been here 30 years. Oh, I've been here 40 years. They retire with a huge pension. Those days are gone. First of all, you don't see people working for companies that long anymore, and secondly, these companies aren't providing their employees with pensions anymore. So you can see those numbers drop. So when you don't have that, retirement income becomes much less predictable. So what that means is that the third leg of the stool, which is where we get into how the other income is going to come in, and that is your income from your investments.
Right, and that's, I guess it's an overall shift in the way life is. I mean, the world's become a much more competitive place. Our companies can't afford to just keep paying people because they've been there a long time, pay them more and more, and then pay them a pension because they've been there so long. Now it's, what have you done for me lately? And people are, for better or for worse, are forced to change jobs periodically, to move up the corporate ladder, to retrain, to retool, to relearn, and have possibly several careers in a lifetime, as opposed to the guy who just left for work and went to the same place every day for 25 or 30 years, and they gave you a gold watch and a pension. So now we're kind of, we're expected to become managers of these resources, to accumulate them and then manage them and grow them and then live off them. It's a lot to ask of people.
Well, yeah, and the other statistic is that people are working longer. Back in 1990, the average retirement age was 57. Today, it's 61. So 57, you retired at 57, you're not even eligible for Social Security. So where are you getting your income from? A pension.
Right.
People are retiring with a pension. That's not happening anymore. Now, the average age is 61. Well, 61 is close to 62. 62 is when you're taking Social Security.
And for many people, and this is probably another subject maybe for another day, the issue comes when you want to go retire at 61 or 62, what do you do for health insurance? Many companies, if you're not working there, first of all, many companies don't have health insurance for their employees. Those who do, sometimes when the employee leaves, they're no longer covered under the health insurance plan. So now they have no health insurance coverage to get to age 65. So that's an issue oftentimes that has to be addressed.
You're right. we should probably spend a show talking about that, talking about the whole Medicare, the whole health care issue, because the reality of it is you're not eligible for Medicare for health insurance until you're 65. So even if you're retiring at 61, you got to do something to bridge the gap to get from 61 to 65. Well, it used to be you had to get from 57 to 65. And in most cases, not only were you getting the company pension, and of course we don't have statistics on this, but the company, in addition to paying you a pension, was probably also paying your health insurance. And not only your health insurance, the health insurance for your spouse.
Right.
So the landscape of retirement is very different. And what it does is it really shifts the risk to the employee. And we can get into the whole dynamics of why this has occurred, and we're in a more competitive environment, and we're competing with companies overseas. And when you look at China and the way they're treating their workers, and India, and so on and so forth, it's a different ball game. But the fact of the matter is that these large companies are really not offering the type of pensions that they once did. And it's really causing people to look at retirement different than their parents did.
Absolutely, and I think it's difficult for folks. I feel for people. Here they are. Let's say they're pushing 60 or in that age bracket. They've got so many decisions to make: when to retire, when to take Social Security, how to handle their investments, what to do about their medical issues and insurance, and what to do about long-term care. So we're going from a society that had kind of a paternalistic look at the employer-employee relationship. The employer took care of the employees. They made these decisions for them, how much they were going to get when they retired, how many years they'd work. Now we're expected to make those decisions for ourselves, and they're difficult decisions, and all of us bring different gifts to the table, but a lot of us, either emotionally or in terms of financial sophistication or just decision making, they find it very difficult. And I guess I should be thankful, because that's what creates a job for you and I, Jeff, is to help people make a lot of these decisions.
Well, that's true, because what's happening now is when we say that the risk has been shifted to the employee, a lot of that falls on their investments, and of course that's where we come in. But when I say the investments, that you're having to rely on retirement plans, 401k plans in a lot of cases, or 403b or what have you. But those plans weren't in existence to the degree that they are now. Back in 1990, 401ks were just pretty much getting their start. Now these companies have gone the way of the defined benefit plan, and now they're offering these defined contribution plans where they say, okay, well, we want you to participate in the 401k plan, and then we'll match your money.
We'll match, or
maybe
sometimes
we'll match,
will,
or they'll do a
won't.
partial match, or they'll, it's a discretionary match, or there's different ways to slice it. But it's really a different ball game, and it really is a shift of risk. Now, here's another interesting statistic, Barry. Back in 1990, 11% of people over the age of 65 were still working. Today, 19% of people over the age of 65 are working. So people are just not retiring like they used to retire. I mean, you're seeing a much older workforce.
Sure.
Now, we can sit back and try to analyze why that is. A lot of people are working, and of course you and I, we're talking to these people every day, so we know why. We know why. People want to work. They have the health to work, so they're active. They want to, they're more engaged, so they want to work. A lot of people have to work. They've got to work a second job maybe. And why is that? They still have debt. They still have a mortgage. They're trying to pay for health insurance.
And many people stumbled in over the last 10 years trying to manage their assets, and then suddenly a year like 2008 comes along, and it's funny how when the market's going north, we're all geniuses. You could basically throw darts at a board and make investment decisions. When the market's going south, then we're all idiots. And when the market's going back and forth, up and down, volatile, we're all confused.
Yeah.
So
well, that's true.
It's the kind of thing that's difficult.
The stock market of 2007 and 2008 did cause people to stay in the workforce longer, which has really driven up the unemployment rate, because those people are looking for jobs, as well as 30 and 40-year-olds who are getting laid off from their jobs. So it's really changed the whole workforce. Just the whole dynamic of more people working and staying in the workforce longer has just changed. It's just changed the whole game.
Well, we are living longer, and so in the old days where it was figured, well, if you collect Social Security when you're 62 or 65 or whatever, well, how long do you really need money for? But now when you go to retire at 60, 62, 65, you could be looking at 20 or 30 years or more of needing income.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you retire, let's say you retire at 61. If you retire at 61, you're looking at life expectancy of 25 years on average. That's a lot of years to be getting income, and it's also a lot of years to deal with inflation. So people are working for later for a variety of reasons. They may be working because they need to, or because they want to. Some people just want to work. They want to stay engaged. They want to stay in the workforce. They want to stay with it. People like to be, and it's really a proven fact that the more active they are either in actual paid work or volunteer work, the better off you are in terms of longevity if you're working a little bit longer.
Well, the mind is a very powerful mechanism to help us or hurt us. When we think positively and have things to do, places to go, people to see, when we feel needed, when we feel important, all those things I think reflect in your overall health and vitality. And we meet lots of people in our practice who are, in their 70s, even their 80s, are very, very alive and vibrant. And I've met people that are in 50 or 60, and they just kind of, they're not that jazzed up about waking up each day and facing the world. So a lot of it is, having a positive attitude. I think a lot of it is, in our role, is helping people feel confident, at least from a financial standpoint, that they're going to have income, so they can do these things that they enjoy. They can get involved in their community. They can do some of the things that they never got a chance to do when they were working.
Yeah. I want to touch on the stock market for a bit, because really equities, the whole stock market, is such a driving force behind how people live in retirement. And just as retirement is different because of the pension factor, it's also different because of the volatility of the stock market. This is not your father's stock market. And what I mean by that is, just if we look at the prior 15 years of history of the stock market, in the past 15 years, we've had, now if you just look at overall return, the stock market is up 14% if you looked at the 15 years prior to 1990 on average.
14% per year.
14% per year between 1975 and 1990. Okay? Now, if you look at the last 15 years, the average return is 4.7%. Okay? That's a big difference, like you said, per year. So we had, back in 1990, we were coming off of really an unprecedented run in the stock market, which started, back in the early 80s. It was an incredible run. Well, now, if you retire today, you're coming off of two of the worst recessions in our history. Okay, so it's a very different ballgame. Now, let me throw some other things out there.
Okay.
In the last 15 years, we've had 3 calendar years where we've had double-digit drop in the stock market. Okay, the stock market lost more than 10% on 3 different occasions.
And when you say the stock market, you're using what, the
S&P 500.
Okay.
Yeah, just for a basis of comparison, just like that other slide that we showed up there, that was the S&P 500. the 15-year return. So when we refer to the stock market, we're looking at the broad index of the S&P 500. So on 3 occasions, the stock market lost more than 10%. Okay, now, how about 20% market declines? On 2 occasions, we had the stock market lose more than 20% in a calendar year. People can't take those kinds of losses. I mean, when you lose 20% of your money and you're retired and you have a short time frame, that does not sit very well. Okay?
Well, especially if those funds are funding your retirement.
Yeah.
So you're not only losing a 20%, let's say in a year, you're spending, maybe 5% of what you had in the beginning of the year. Well, now you find by the end of the year, you're down 25%.
That's right.
And you need money again the following year.
Yeah, and of course, and the market declined 30% or more one time, and of course that was 2008. Further, and of course we're just talking about calendar years here. If you look, and of course the markets don't conveniently work on a calendar year. If you look at the 18-month period between October of 2007 and March of 2009, the stock market lost over 50%, about 55% of its value it lost in that 18-month period. Imagine that. So if you retired today with a nice nest egg in your 401k, you just set it, you just have it in the S&P 500. You have it in an unmanaged index. In 18 months, you lose over half your value.
And we look back now and say, well, the economy, and we made it through that time, and a lot of those accounts, if the people stayed in the market, they probably grew back some of their money, maybe even grew back the money they lost. But for so many people, once you experience that, it's like being hit by a truck. I mean, you're just not ready to go out and play in traffic again. And so some people will never recover from that 2008.
That's right. They'll never recover because the market went down, and if you're taking income from those accounts at the same time, you're just never going to recover from that.
So what we need to know is, when's the next 2007, 2008 going to happen to us, so we can avoid that?
Well, that's the problem. We don't know that. So we've actually had clients. You know what, Barry? Here's an idea now. We should probably do a case study of somebody who retired in 2007, late 2007. We'll pick somebody who retired late in 2007, and we'll illustrate what we did to insulate them from the type of market risk that we've experienced.
I think it's a good idea because we have a kind of unique approach to managing risk and still growing money, still creating income. It's a very different approach, I think, than most financial planners would use or do use. And the reason we use it is because it works.
Yeah.
And it works again and again.
Well, yeah. So we'll put that teaser out there. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that the next show.
Let's do it.
And we'll talk about the case of the client who decided, not decided, it just happened that they retired in October of 2007. And
they picked the wrong time to retire.
Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, and I have a client in mind, and they're actually doing pretty well today, just because of some of the things that we did to hedge our bets. There's some good investment product out there. Not that we want to get into a lot of product in these shows, but the fact of the matter is there's stuff out there. There's product out there with a lot of safety built into it.
And generally, when we do plan these things, we use a combination of things, not just one cookie cutter solution to the problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's all really it's a cliche, but a lot of it's about diversification.
Right.
And when you can have diversification, and you have tools at your disposal that have guarantees built in them, it's really pretty powerful.
Great.
So every month, of course, we do public seminars. We have a public forum. We go out there and we speak to the masses, if you will. Up on your screen here, you see some shows that we have upcoming here. Sometimes we'll do shows right here in Pottstown, or when I say shows, seminars, public seminars. A workshop, where we talk about different things about Social Security. We even have workshops where we're gearing towards females and the issues that they're dealing with in retirement. So up on our screen, you have some of the shows that we have coming up. And if you're interested in attending you can simply call our office or send me an email, and we should have a slide there where you can send me an email or give us a call, and we'll make sure and we'll get tickets out to you if you're interested in coming. So these workshops are very helpful for people. It's really sort of a non-threatening way for people to meet us. It's not like they feel like they're sitting in a one-on-one situation where they might feel a little reluctant to give us information.
It's also I want to emphasize, when we do these workshops, they're for information only. Nothing is sold. No business is transacted. People come and they get a lot of good, useful information that's helpful. So we need help with this stuff. It's not simple. There's no manual on how to do this.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I think we've been able to do over the years is we've been able to really get the message out there in a lot of different ways. And these public seminars, these public workshops have been really a way where for people they can just come out, and we usually have it in a nice restaurant. We serve dinner afterwards, and it really is a way for them just to learn about, not only about the subject matter, but also to learn a little bit about us. And, you know, we've had the good fortune of working with many, many people that have come to these workshops over the years. And, you know, and a lot of times there's people that we don't work with or we can't help for whatever reason. But most people come out to the workshop and they get something from it, and it helps them, you know, further their education and furthers, you know, some of their decision making in retirement. So we think it's a good.
It's a lot of fun too, and we try to make it entertaining. And you know, you have to have a little fun while you're out there. Otherwise, it gets pretty dry. Yeah.
And we've done these workshops. You and I, over the last 15 years, you know, we've done over 200 of these things, and we've done them. Come rain, we're like the weather. We're like the post
through rain, through snow, gloom of night,
sleet and hail,
and gloom of night. Don't forget the gloom of night.
Gloom of night. Like we've done them already, where you look out the window and you know, like when the snow's moving sideways.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, and of course we have some hardy people. Like here in Pottstown, remember the one night
it was raining sideways when we got there.
And one night it was like 2 degrees out, and we had people come out to the workshop. So we really have a hardy group.
Well, listen, people need information, and it's a great way to get it, and it's a great way to just learn what you need to do. You know, you're going to have to make a lot of, there's going to be a lot of decisions to make at this stage of life, and
or as they say, you don't know what you don't know.
Well, what do they say? There's a known knowns and an unknown knowns and the unknown unknowns and the known unknowns. Yeah.
So, so on that note, Barry, the time seems to fly by here as we do these shows, but we're coming to the end of another show of the Financially Speaking, and then of course we'll be on again next month, and we'll do another show, and maybe we'll do that case study.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea, and I look forward to it.
Okay. All right. Signing off. This is Financially Speaking with Jeff Bush, and we'll see you next time.